Most people don't ask me about my face or what happened. It's usually after a time and conversation that I'll be able to share my story. And I like sharing my story because I want people to hear about how God spared my life. I grew up on the Navajo reservation in Arizona. As a young girl, I was very shy, and I really didn't ever feel like I had any special talent. I wasn't creative, I wasn't artistic. I didn't even really have any passion or drive of any sort. I think I mostly just wanted life to be easy. I was asking questions like, why aren't I prettier? Why aren't I smarter? Why aren't I more talented? I wasn't happy about how God had made me.
I was about 25 years old at Bible college when I first met Lynn. It just developed pretty naturally, but also pretty quickly to where I decided there was something pretty special about her.
I was back in Colorado with some friends, and we went to a church meeting on a Wednesday evening. And as we were driving home, our car ran into the back of a semi-truck, which didn't have any lights on. My face hit the windshield, and I received a large cut on the side of my face, and my 2 front teeth were knocked out.
She made very light of the accident. I almost didn't go to see her because she said, that's nothing, little cut, a couple broken teeth. She was in the hospital. I walked in, and she looked like Frankenstein. She had a great big gash on her face, all stitched up. Her eyes were red jello. Her front teeth had been knocked out. I was so surprised. I've learned since then that this is how Lynn operates. She's just one tough customer. Seeing her in that condition and realizing this was going to change the way she looked, which I just thought she was beautiful. I think I fell more in love with her. Lynn and I had only known each other for about a year when we got married. We got married on the reservation, had 2 different weddings.
There you go. When I was 28 years old, I started having some symptoms that the doctors couldn't figure out.
Daddy, a red light's blinking.
We had 3 young children at the time. The youngest was about 1 year old. She was fatigued, and then she started losing her balance to the point where she would have to feel her way down the hallway to keep from falling over while they were testing her for everything under the sun except a brain tumor, because she was way too young for a brain tumor, is what they said. When they finally did some scans, there it was. I talked to the doctor after the surgery, and he informed me that he had not been able to remove the tumor, but that he had drained a cyst and just sewed her back up.
I went to several specialists, and there was one doctor, and he said, well, you could walk out here today and walk down the sidewalk and drop dead instantly because that tumor could rupture. So you could die at any time. I could die. This could be the end of my life. I'm 28 years old, and it just didn't seem real.
I was very, very scared. I think oddly, I don't think I thought that much about having to take care of 3 kids if she were gone. I'm sure it occurred to me, but I just couldn't imagine life without her.
We're made for eternity. And so instinctively, we think of ourselves as eternal and that we're going to live forever. So as a 28-year-old with a brain tumor and 3 young children and being told that you could drop dead any minute, there's this reality that our life on earth isn't eternal, but God has made us for eternity. After about 3 months, they took another scan, and the doctor said, I think we can get this out. And so they went in for a second operation. It was removed.
It's a sweet trip to the something rather shop.
For the next 20 or so years, we lived a lot of life free from medical issues, but we had no idea what was about to come.
When I was 51 years old, I ended up at the Mayo Clinic because I had a problem in my right jaw that they couldn't figure out what was wrong.
You know, at first it was just a problem with a tooth. And then when maybe it was an infection. And then suddenly it was a pseudotumor, which all that means is they don't know what it is, essentially.
It was inflammation that just wasn't going to turn off. The tissue just disintegrated, and I ended up with a hole in my face. I had a hole clean through about the size of a silver dollar. After a while, I lost 6 teeth because of bone and tissue loss. It went on for months, and we didn't even know if there was going to be some kind of an answer. And so then, of course, you're thinking, how is this going to end up? You know, if this doesn't stop, what can this do? What more can this do? So those were hard days because I just didn't know. So naturally, I'm questioning God about it. And, you know, what's the purpose of this? You want things to mean something. All it seemed like it was doing was just destroying more and more of my face and my jaw tissue. And I didn't really have any answers for that. As I woke up, I would just say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And it's a decision to give each day to the Lord. The healing process took about 1.5 years, so I was always dealing with it. I wore a bandage on my face for over 1 year.
She'd be eating every once in a while. You had to tell her, hey, you're getting food on the outside of your face, you know, because it would go through her cheek. Frankly, her face has been messed up. I mean, you see before and after pictures, she's been messed up. I did not want other people to see the scars. I wanted people to see Lynn, not immediately just react to how she looked.
Generally speaking, people don't ask me about my face. I think it's obvious, you know, and I'm sure they're curious, but people don't usually ask me about it. Having something that really changes your face, it could be a devastating type of thing. I was surrounded by people that loved me, and that helped. But I just knew God was intimately involved in what was going on. And so it was this opportunity to really trust Him and ask Him, you know, how do you want to use this? How is this going to be something that speaks to other people and speaks about who you are? I could have died because of illness or accident or whatever. The main way that it shaped my faith is just in trusting God with whatever His plan is. I'm not an artistic person. I'm not a terribly creative person. I'm not educated for anything real specific. But I realize that God wants to do more in me and in my life than I can do myself or that I can even think of. I just began to pray a new prayer, and it was more along the line of, Lord, I want to see what you're doing, and I want to come on board. I want to cooperate with what you're doing because it's good, and it's unique, and it's something that I can't even imagine myself.
We were on the reservation doing some work. We were shooting some video for a project that Lynn was doing for a school. I wasn't a video guy. I mean, I had a little tape camera thing, you know, but we were just trying to tell some stories. And we felt God call us, do this for missionaries. So I was 64 years old. Lynn was 58 when we just decided we were going to start making films for missionaries.
We had no experience, we had no background, we had no imagination for it. God gave me assignments that were far beyond anything that I could picture myself doing. It didn't make it easy because it was scary for me. I had to make a decision just to do it, to move forward in faith in Him that He had put me in a certain place and time, and that was by His design.
We experience God's leading just all the time. I mean, it's a wonderful thing.
As God revealed himself to me more and more as a creative God that I could partner with, I realized, that yeah, we can say yes to something that is beyond who we are, because it's God's assignment and it's his idea. We would have never thought of filming missionaries and telling their stories if he hadn't first taken us on that journey to learn to trust him. When you get older, you realize there's not a lot of time left, but you want to use what time you have for whatever God has for you to do. So it actually gets more and more exciting as you get older.
We are far too old, by anybody's estimation, to be doing what we're doing right now. Just because we reach a certain age doesn't mean we quit asking him, what do you want? Where are you going? How do I go with you there? It's about following Jesus, and he's on the move in some way. So how do you get aligned with him until you go to heaven?
I love what we get to do. I never would have imagined the life that I live now. Most of my life, what I really wanted was to be comfortable and for things to be easy. My life isn't like that at all now. It's very challenging. It's a lot of work, and I'm so thankful that the Lord allowed me to take this new journey with him.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps.